Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, o see them yopo.
Mema wakwaba e de ba PENDREAM TV so make sure say obe subscribe to channel no click bell so say the news to our sabe to me aka ntem no watie afa so make sure say obe like na wa comment no share ama afoforo so nsaka na comment section ho so no opese wo kire wa adwen obetimi e de wadwen kire ato honom na amanfo so anya bia kenkan na onim say PENDREAM TV de eye nsem a ekoso Ghana yam politics mu ne de ba na yasaka ya ne de abranti na so me video I saka pese no che na ye de ba nti me mo modern astro so obehwe video we amana si awie na wa kire wa adwen e comment section na se yenko video.
Okay, so that is what this government has done and has kept us out of darkness for at least 6 years. That is on record. That for their government, for the longest time in the history, these people slept in darkness for nearly 4 years. So any person, any sane mind, any objective analyst of this such a situation will not want to. In fact, we have a situation where people lost their lives as a result of fumes coming from generators they were using. In this country, we've not experienced such. No single life loss has been attributed to Dumsor as we see today. And someone will sit down and
but
say,
life have been lost, attributed to other.
I'm saying that ISA even did a research in 2014 and stated that in 2014 alone, 1 billion loss to the economy was occasioned by Dumsor. Just in 2014.
You mean 1 billion?
1 billion USA
dollars
loss. So no, you cannot even in any stretch of imagination try to, equate the situation we have today to the situation we had in 2014, 2015.
Do we have a debt? Do we have a debt crisis today in the energy sector?
I'll address that. I'll address that. We have issue of revenue collection, and that issue is cascading into the payment of independent power producers. That is a fact. That we are still having payment of independent power producer in arrears, which didn't even start today.
Why is the cash waterfall mechanism not helping? Why is it not?
It's not helping.
Why has it been abandoned?
Because we still have a situation where we need to chase people to pay for the electricity they consume. We have a situation where the EC boss had to go and disconnect people for non-payment of for electricity. And when that comes up, he doesn't even gain the sympathy of the Ghanaian people. He's lambasted on top of it. Okay. So when you have such a situation and we bury our heads,
no, he's not. It's not true that he's been chasing us for money and we lambast him for that. That is not true. That's not factual. Because he's not the only ECG boss who has been disconnecting. In fact, disconnection started from Adam, like Kufo would say. Is that not true?
But disconnection didn't start. Can I make the point?
It is comments that he makes when he gets the opportunity to speak to us. It's not the disconnection.
The ECG boss is working. He's gone to do, for the first time, has put even government institutions on their toe and has reminded them time without number of their responsibility to the country in terms of payment of electricity. He has not made any comment that suggests that he's not being sensitive to the plight of Ghanaian people. The only comment that came on the back of all this growth was even about a year ago comment, which we discussed on this same platform, where some people in the eastern region were not paying for power. And when they were demanding payment, they rose up to demonstrate, asking for free power, usage of power for free. And that was the point he made the comment that people should realize that electricity is not a privilege. You have to pay for it. That was the context of that comment. But in the midst of this crisis, journalists went and took that comment. A comment that was made a year ago, a time that we didn't even have the Dumsor, playing now and lambasting him. Okay, so we cannot be on one breath having to run with people who work to ensuring that we have stability in the power sector and at the same time blaming them. I will even come to the point he mentioned about America, and he said this government is interested in only corrupt activities, paying their cronies, mentioning names of companies that America deal has been on record as one of the biggest scandals of energy sector, of the energy sector in the country.
Scandal.
Yes, about 150 million padded to the contract of over 500 million Ameri deal.
And what did you do to it?
I'll come to tell you what we did to address it. And the renegotiation of the power agreement has saved this country about $13.2 million.
How do you renegotiate a scandal?
So let me tell you.
A scandalous deal. How do you renegotiate that?
Look, when you go into an agreement, and the agreement is based on take or pay, and you are per unit or per kilowatt dealing, it's around 16 to 20 United States cents per kilowatt of power. That is a clearly padded, but because of freedoms of contract, basic trial learning in contract, we tell a freedom of contract once entered freely without duress. Okay, you can't set aside such a contract. You have to renegotiate.
You have been compromised.
Who has been compromised?
You.
How is the government?
Without setting aside the contracts and renegotiation.
How is it compromised?
How
is the government compromised?
You have been compromised.
How is the government compromised?
How do you describe a deal as scandalous, yet you renegotiate it and say, well, the terms and conditions in it did not allow you to set it aside?
Terms and conditions will not allow you. And if you avert your mind to the provisions of any contract, an abrogation of contract will come with damages. Damages that will even may far exceed the renegotiation. So a prudent government will go for renegotiation, then the termination of that contract.
Wow.
A prudent government will go for renegotiation of the contract, then a termination of that contract. You don't go terminating a contract with all those clauses on damages payment and also probably interest accruing thereof, and you say that a government should go and terminate it because it's been, bedridden with corruption. You don't expect the government to do that. The government will highlight the ills of that contract and go ahead to do the rational thing that will save the country some money. And that's exactly what the government did. So you cannot say the government is being compromised by that decision the government took. Now, he went further to note that, in fact, he did a very good job of giving us the history of Dumsor since the 1990s. 1984, right? So since the 1980s to now. And when it came to John Mahmoud's era, he was economical with the fact that he said that Dumsor for about a year. Nana Ampofo for the Dumsor for about a year.
I never said that.
Okay, so don't go, you didn't say that. So on record, they had the longest period of Dumsor in the whole history of since the 1980s. Such a government and operatives and actors, people who were part and parcel, integral. It is sensitive for us to listen to them and to, appreciate that they have genuine concern we are trying to address. But do not go to the realm of comparison of records. Once you do that, you are forcing the government to tell you your own record on the face. And he went ahead to talk about economic record, to say that this government is so arrogant and the vice president will still look Ghanaians on the face and say that the government has performed better. And he mentioned several, and even again lied that interest rates are around 40%. On this set, you didn't even, I don't know whether you don't also have the right figures. You didn't even correct that. When he went about mentioning all these figures, I don't even know. Kwame said, Felix, show us where he got that 40% interest rate from. And when we are doing comparison, okay, it's okay for people to tell us that let's do current, but when we're going to do current, are we going to compare it against your 10 as of today, a year ago, under your 10? That would be the basis for comparing. You cannot compare current figures with your any year figure. You cannot, I don't even know where we will go into such comparison. But if you want us to do comparison, let us define the metrics. Are we going by averages for all our tenure? Then we'll do the comparison. We are waiting for that debate. Are we going for end of tenure records, such that when you were leaving office, what was the inflation rate? What was the exchange rate? What was the depreciation?
But you can't do that now.
We've been doing that, and we presented that, and I've told you, and I can repeat that interest rate as of their term, when their average was worse than the average of the New Patriotic Party. New Patriotic Party
interest rate in 2017 was what?
I'm talking about interest rate for average. You cannot ask me interest rate for 2017.
No. Why do you want to use average?
I'm saying that you are asking me to do analysis, and I'm giving the basis for the analysis.
You are picking and choosing how it will please you. Why average?
I have asked you, if you take your time, I have asked you, if you want to do analysis, let's define the metrics. Are we doing it based on average? Are we doing it based on end period? I mentioned it here. And you asked me to do the analysis. So you cannot say that I'm choosing.
So you are choosing the average analysis.
So that I'm saying that let's do end period. And if you are going to do end period, then you wait till December of this government. Or we are going to compare now to, what do you call it, March of their period in 2016. That is the basis for compare. You cannot compare apples with oranges. So you don't do an analysis that is not bound on basis that has no common denominator. That is the point I'm trying to, and that's why I've been trying strenuously to educate that we don't do comparison based on you are choosing and picking. We must have a common denominator.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the point I have been trying to explain. So if you want us to do analysis based on end period, we are willing. If you are trying to do analysis based on averages, we are willing. But we are clear in our mind and fortified in saying that the records of the MPP, when it comes to the economy, far better than the records of the NDC when it comes to the management of the economy. We admit 15 Ghana cedi, 13 Ghana cedi to $1. A lay person will say that it is bad. Yes, to me it is bad. Because something that was 4 Ghana cedi, it is 15 Ghana cedi. You cannot say it's not bad. But at the rate, at the speed with which you deteriorated the cedi, if we had left it to you, you have been doing 20 Ghana cedi now. That is the analysis that we do. Because you cannot tell me that when someone is recovering at a rate of 10%, and your recovery was at the rate of 1%, the person who's recovering at the rate of 10% is not doing better than the 1%. You cannot tell me that. Even though they have been they have been slowed down, or we are slow in the recovery, but you cannot tell me that such a person is not better than you. You cannot tell me that a government that has created more jobs than you, and one breath you are doing absolute figures. When it comes to inflation, when it comes to exchange rate, he's doing absolute figures. But when it comes to, unemployment, he's quick to go to percentages, saying the government did 14%. But why is it not using the absolute figures of jobs that have been created? That tells you that when you want to do analysis, the basis for analysis should be percentages, should be averages. In his own submission, he goes to say, unemployment is 14%, that is the worst. But he's not telling us that this government has even created more jobs. You cannot say a government that has created 2 million jobs, as compared to a government that created less than 1 million jobs, is not doing better than you. On the same measure, on the same yardstick, on the same foundation he laid down. Okay, so you don't make such assumption. Now, he also mentioned that this government has defaulted. True. The government has gone into negotiated default. True. The government, on the back of the debt exchange program, has had to have debt standstill. True. But it is not true that this government, they claim, is bankrupt. It's the first time we are doing default. Under John Mahama, we defaulted in the payment of AFDB loan. We defaulted, even without any crisis. So you cannot sit on national platform, create a sense that, this is the first time a government is defaulting in the payment. The difference even that this one, it is acknowledged that there's a problem. This one, we have acknowledged that we needed to do a settlement. This one, we've acknowledged that based on the unsustainable nature of our public debt, we needed to do a debt standstill. But we wake up one day to a default, and you say such an economy was not also bankrupt. If the basis for analysis of a bankrupt economy is default, then you call it they're under their watch. The economy collapsed.